Spring training is almost a month away, and the Diamondbacks have a lot of things they still need to get done.
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up and welcome to the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, the show where we talk nothing but the D-backs every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm your lifelong D-backs fan and overly obsessed host, Daynen Biggs. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this postseason, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Today is January 8th. Oof, I had to look at that. 2026, by the way. I'm still getting used to that one. And I've had a lot of people, including my dad, ask me, so what's with the Diamondbacks? What are they doing? Is Ketel Marte staying? Is he getting traded? Are we signing Alex Bregman? Are we, do we have pitchers yet? What's going on? And a lot of people as well saying the Diamondbacks are stingy. They're not giving up any money. I have a lot of people comment on like when I post these on Facebook, a lot of people will comment on those posts and be like, oh, Ken Kendrick is cheap. He's not spending any money. Da, 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 da. I'm not 100% sure they're watching this. So if you are watching this and you're from a Facebook post, let me know in the comments. But that seems to be a lot of what the feeling is right now. So let's break this down. Spring training starts officially on February 11th. 2026. That is when pitchers and catchers report and technically marks the beginning of spring training. So where are the Diamondbacks right now? Well, MLB.com actually has an article that they posted about exactly this. They posted this yesterday and kind of recapped the whole thing. And I want to share a little bit. I'll kind of summarize that for you right now. So the starting rotation is the first thing it focuses on. And we went into the offseason with 3 starting pitchers, and that's it. Ryan Nelson was our best starting pitcher of the last season, and he is still here, thank goodness. And then our other 2, Brandon Pfaadt, who had a really good, playoff run in 2023, a pretty good 2024, but not such a good 2025, is still here. And then we also have Eduardo Rodriguez, who not exactly turned out the way we wanted him to. However, he did end the season, September, doing pretty darn well. So kind of what we had hoped we'd get from him when we originally signed him. So those were our 3 pitchers. Well, at the first day of winter meetings, we signed Michael Soroka to a $7.5 million deal, a 1-year deal, with a potential $2 million bonus. I believe if he does a performance bonus or if he plays a certain amount of innings, something like that. So it could be up to $9.5 million. Also, I believe I saw on Fangraphs that I'll have to pull this up real quick. Okay, so yeah, according to Fangraphs, Michael Soroka has a 2027 mutual option, which I wasn't actually aware of that. I don't know if that was reported anywhere or if this is just speculative or something, but anyway, so potentially reaching in 2027, it has a $10 million mutual option. So if he does really well and we want to keep him, he wants to stay here, then great. So that's our 4th pitcher. And then biggest news of the offseason, we re-signed Merrill Kelly, who pitched for us last year, pitched a 3.22 ERA here in Arizona, which was our best of the rotation. Didn't do so well in Texas after he was traded away. So that kind of skewed his numbers a little bit, but he has signed a 2-year deal for $40 million, and there is a vesting option for 2028 as well. So potentially 3 years, which I imagine if he's doing well enough and everything works out, I think that is likely to happen. So that's our starting rotation, but that's kind of it. We don't have anybody else from there. Corbin Burnes is set to come back at the All-Star break or after the All-Star break, hopefully not too long after. So that'll be a huge bump. But according to my calculations that I did in the previous episode, I think it was the previous episode. I haven't been super good about posting this off season. I apologize, and thank you for sticking with me for through this inconsistent time. But anyway, according to my calculations, if this is our starting rotation for the first half of the year, we will have a team ERA or a starting pitching ERA of 4.35, which would rank 22nd in the league, assuming the numbers repeat from last year. And but adding Burns to that would make it a 4.03, which would rank us at 18th. So not good by any means. Well, that was ominous. I don't know if you guys heard that huge lightning strike. Holy moly. But anyway, that was really weirdly timed. But for a little frame of reference, and the dogs are barking. Hold on. As frame of reference, though, we ranked 23rd starting ERA last. Or sorry. Our rotation was 19th. So we would be worse in the first half, a little bit better in the second half. Overall, ranking 19th again. Hold on, I'm going to make sure my dogs know it's just thunder. Okay, now hopefully there's no more rude thunder. Anyway, so as the way it sits now, according to Baseball Reference, they have their projected like stats for the upcoming season. Obviously not crazy accurate or anything, don't get me wrong, but a good kind of idea place. And this also seems pretty in line with what other people are guessing. So that's our starting rotation. There was a big, the big if. So I'm going to talk about Ketel Marte real quick as well. With Ketel Marte, the big question is, are we going to trade Ketel Marte or is he going to stay here? And then separately, it's kind of like, how come Mike Hazen isn't doing anything? How come the Diamondbacks are being so slow to sign people? Well, these are actually connected. They're the same thing, because if we trade Ketel Marte, we will trade him for a bunch of pitching, trade him for starting pitchers, bullpen arms, prospects, and good ones too. Not just mediocre ones, like good pitchers. And therefore would not need to spend money signing these pitchers. We'd get good deals on them because we would just be paying what their contract is, which is a lot lower than what free agents are going for. My dog's still barking a little bit, but ignore him. He's just very hyped about this. And so if we do trade Ketel Marte, we get a bunch of pitchers, don't sign any more pitchers, sign offense, sign Alex Bregman, sign not Kyle Tucker or anything, but sign Eugenio Suarez, sign people like that, Goldschmidt stuff. And then we have pitchers. We have a good amount of offense to replace Marte. Good to go. But if we don't trade Ketel Marte, then we need to sign those pitchers, and we don't need to sign offense because we have Ketel Marte still. So it's kind of you don't want to sign a bunch of people. Like if Mike Hazen had gone out and signed a bunch of starting pitchers and relief pitchers, but then traded Ketel Marte for a bunch of pitchers, then it'd be like, well, now our pitching's good, but now our offense stinks because we didn't sign any offense. Or vice versa. He signed a bunch of offense, but didn't trade Ketel Marte. So now we have really good offense, but we don't have any good pitching. And that's kind of why the question with Alex Bregman is, we're not going to sign Alex Bregman unless we trade Ketel Marte. If we keep it would be very irresponsible for us as a team, as an organization, to keep Ketel Marte and sign Alex Bregman, because as cool as that would be for the offense, our defense, the needs of our defense far outweigh what the needs of our offense. And so the only way I could see that happening is if Ken Kendrick goes, you know what, I will personally put money in and I will say, go ahead, sign Alex Bregman to this extremely long, lucrative deal, keep Ketel Marte, and still sign additional pitchers. Because if he goes, yeah, sure, sign Bregman and keep Marte, but that's it, money's out, then it's like, well, we still need bullpen guys. We still need starting pitching depth. So now we're toast. What if Ryan Nelson and Merrill Kelly get injured? What if Michael Soroka needs Tommy John surgery? He's had an issue with injury before. Then it's like, okay, well, now we have minor league guys pitching or bullpen guys starting, and we're really toast. Then we're ranking 28th, 29th, 30th, maybe not 30th. The Rockies are still there, but you know what I mean? And so that would be very irresponsible. So But if we do trade Ketel Marte, then we get the Hall of Pitchers. That's good. And then we go and sign Alex Bregman, who by all accounts wants really badly to play here. That bumps up our offense a bit. He's not as good as Marte, but he would do very well here still. And he would provide a lot of offense and a lot of leadership and other things like that. That would be good. And he'd be here forever. So that'd be nice. But that would be that's if we trade Ketel Marte. So that's where that is. I have a lot more I want to say on this, but maybe we will talk. Yeah, we could talk more about that after the short break, which a bunch of people have just signed contracts with the Diamondbacks, mostly to avoid arbitration, which I'll get to here in a minute. But a handful of other minor league players have also signed with the Diamondbacks, which could mean a lot of new faces in the 2026 season. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Every game, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what your boosts are that you want to apply. Boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. Boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet on something new. And every play feels bigger, and boosts make your bets feel that way too. Make your picks, then apply your playoff boost or your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel.com, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. And we're back. And once again, I wanted to say thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen of every day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. So back to everything that has transpired here recently. So we have Alec Thomas. Are we going to trade him? Are we not? I don't know yet. But he did sign a 1-year, $1.96 million contract this morning with the Diamondbacks in order to avoid arbitration, which basically it's basically like when you're arbitration eligible, you can basically say, hey, I'm worth this much, and the team goes, no, you're not, you're worth this much, and then they argue about it, and if they can't decide, then a middleman comes in and picks one or the other. So either the player is really bummed or the team is now left paying much more than they had anticipated. That may not be the best explanation, but that's the explanation I'm going to give today. So Alec Thomas is arbitration eligible. Ryan Thompson is arbitration eligible. And Gabriel Moreno was arbitration eligible. And then we have Pavin Smith, Kevin Ginkel, AJ Puck, Ryan Nelson, and Jake McCarthy, all of which are arbitration eligible. Now, Alec Thomas and Ryan Thompson today both signed contracts. Alec Thomas for just under $2 million and Ryan Thompson for just under $4 million. Now, Ryan Thompson will be a free agent next year, so this is his last year here, unless we re-sign him, as well as AJ Puck and Kevin Ginkel. They'll be free agents next year as well. But Alec Thomas is here for at least the next 3 years. So that's kind of big news, but also I may understand this incorrectly, but they still can be traded. It's just now they would receive this contract instead of an arbitration eligible player, essentially. So if anything, this may make Alec Thomas more appealing to a team. But I don't know. That's a good question. Anyway, let me know if you have any insight into that, because that's an area that I know a bit about, but not enough to consider myself an expert in. But anyway, going back to spring training, let's actually talk about, speaking of Ryan Thompson, let's talk about the bullpen a bit, because the bullpen, nothing has actually happened with the bullpen, really. Last year, the Diamondbacks set a record of having 17 pitchers record a save for the team. 17 pitchers, which dwarfs the other. It was the previous record was 14. The Diamondbacks had 17, which kind of sounds like, ooh, cool, nice. But no, that's actually kind of a bad thing because we didn't have a closer. We didn't have anybody that we could rely on to close out the game. And that's kind of supported by the fact that we blew 29 saves throughout the season, which was the most in the National League and tied for most in the majors. I mean, I don't love doing this, but had we blown 25 saves instead of 29, we would have made the playoffs. So that's definitely like a huge point that needs to be addressed, and not really much has happened. Like, we are expecting to get Justin Martinez and AJ Puck back, which this article by MLB.com says at some point during the first half or not long after the All-Star break. Which that's news to me. I always assumed I figured it was going to be at or after the All-Star break. Maybe there's some new information out there that I didn't know about. But the All-Star break is kind of when I'm anticipating getting them and Corbin Burnes back. But we'll know well in advance if that's actually going to be happening. But yeah, nothing's really happened. There are some minor league signings that have happened, which, if we go to the Diamondbacks active roster and go into their transactions, we can actually see pretty much everybody that they've signed recently. They signed free agent Indigo Diaz to a minor league contract. Indigo Diaz is potentially going to be, oh, there goes the dog again. Sorry, he's very excited about Indigo Diaz. He will be going to the Sod Poodles, maybe making his major league debut. Right? He has not, maybe making his major league debut this year, but really is just going to be some additional depth there. Okay, maybe I misread that. Maybe my dog does not like Indigo Diaz. I can't quite tell. I can't speak dog. Let me go ask him real quick. Okay, I brought them in here, both of them, and apparently, no, it didn't have anything to do with Indigo Diaz. He just saw a school bus outside. Anyway, in the minors, we also let's talk about who we signed. We signed Sean Dubbin to a minor league contract. Sean Dubbin has major league experience. He has pitched in 64 games during his career, and in 2025 pitched in 30 games as a relief pitcher. So some good depth there. Nothing like outrageously incredible or anything like that, but not too bad either. A good deal of time on the injured list, and was signed by the Diamondbacks on December 19th, and will be in Reno, but very likely will come up and have his shot here in Arizona. We've also signed other players like, or not signed, but we still have Bryce Jarvis, who we designated for assignment, and then he cleared waivers and so is back in Reno. We also signed John Curtis, who we recognize from last year. We signed Teofilo Mendez, who does not have any major league experience yet, but that's right. Teofilo Mendez has yet to advance past high A, but did put up some pretty good numbers in low A, like had a 1.41 ERA over 23 games. So really good stuff. Hasn't quite managed to find his groove yet in high A. He's only pitched 8 games though in high A. It looks like most of this last season he was out on injury. So hoping he can come back, but he's a young guy too. So we have him. And I'm kind of just going through all this just to kind of show like the Diamondbacks are working on their depth, and they're working like all of these guys that they're signing to minor league contracts. They're all pitchers. We're trying to fix the problem long term. This isn't meant to be a short term thing. The only player that we've gotten that I can see that isn't is we traded Kyle Backus for outfielder Avery Awusu Asedu. I hope I'm saying that right. But he's a center fielder. He's got a ways before he makes it into the majors. It looks like he was last in high A, but performed fairly well. So could work his way up the system. I have a feeling, and I made this guess at the time that it happened. But I think Kyle Backus had to be removed from the roster because we were signing Merrill Kelly. And I don't think he would have cleared waivers. So the Diamondbacks elected to trade him to at least get something back for him. I think somebody would have picked him up. But yeah. And then we got a right-handed pitcher, Antonio Menendez, in the Rule 5 draft. We got a pitcher, Darlin Penales, in the Rule 5 draft. Sean Harney in the Rule 5 draft. These are all pitchers. Gerardo Carrillo, we signed to a minor league contract. Isaiah Campbell, that's a big one, who we signed to a minor league contract. Isaiah Campbell was on the Red Sox. He has appeared in 41 games in his career and has a 5.65 ERA out of the bullpen. So not terrible. And the kind of player that hopefully we get to see make some noise here in Arizona. But there's a lot of this kind of stuff. So the Diamondbacks are making moves. They're just not major league level moves, which is a bit frustrating. But they're making moves for 2027, 2028. 2029 and so on. So hopefully this is something, I think really, hopefully this is the last year that the Diamondbacks struggle with their pitching, and that from here on out, the Diamondbacks have at least an average competent pitching. Have at least competent pitching. Is that going to happen? I don't know. It would appear so. They're making all the right moves. I just hope that they don't sacrifice their offense as well, but we still have a good deal of offense that's going to be here for a good while. So if we can continue that, we also have our own prospects, which I'm going to pull up because I didn't have pulled up already. Apologies. Our number one prospect is Ryan Waldschmidt. He may make an appearance this season, but he's an outfielder. Our next highest prospect is Slade Caldwell, who probably won't appear until 2027 at the earliest, but both of which are looking like they'll alongside Corbin Carroll, they're going to be our guys. Ryan Waldschmidt will probably take over for Lourdes Gurriel Jr., assuming he moves on next season or the season after. And then Slade Caldwell as well. Tommy Troy is at second base, who I think the idea is that he takes over Ketel Marte when Ketel Marte moves to designated hitter, which will inevitably happen as guys age. And then we have pitchers. We have Mitch Bratt, who's going to be ready soon. We have Chris Yamena, who is on the roster right now, and will likely be pitching regularly. We have Cole Drake. I've totally skipped over him. The issue is that all of our top prospects this year right now are position players. Our first pitcher doesn't show up till the sixth rank. And it's Cole Drake, who we acquired at the end of last season, So this, I imagine, is going to change in a big way. But the more you scroll down on this list, the more pitchers you see and the more optimistic you get, I guess you could say. So, but that still leaves the big question. What about 2026? What about this year? Well, as soon as the door on Ketel Marte is either shut or he goes through it, we trade him, or we decide, you know what, that's it, he's staying here, which I think that's more likely to be the case. Then I expect Mike Hazen to go spending the rest of our budget on the bullpen. I don't know that he'll really put much more into the starting rotation. I hope he maybe gets like one more guy who could fill that role, but we're going to actually talk about it because we only have, as a team, according to some sources, $20 million left to spend on our roster this season. Let's be real, managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forget about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? I know I sure don't. That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I once had a subscription to one of those, car washes that you go to, but then I sold my car and tried to cancel it. It didn't work. So I called in and tried to cancel it again. They said, okay, you're canceled. But guess what? The card kept getting charged over and over again for a car I didn't even own anymore. So you can set budgets, goals, and get personalized insights and receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, and low balances. It even consolidates your checking, savings, and loans and investments into a single dashboard so you get a clear view of your entire financial picture. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join rocketmoney.com/locked on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. rocketmoney.com/locked on. Now, according to Fangraphs, which I'm going to return to, the estimated final 2025 payroll was $188 million. Now that's such a wishy-washy number. But for our purposes, that's the number we're going to use because, people get traded. There's arbitration. There's unforeseen expenses and all that kind of stuff. And it's complicated. So we're going to stick with 188 million. The luxury tax threshold is, I'm going to look this up real quick so I don't mess it up because I 100% will, and it's a very specific number, is $244 million. So any team, so we can spend up to that before getting an additional tax, which is pretty steep. I believe it's 20% for that first one. Which the Diamondbacks just absolutely don't have the money for. But also, the Diamondbacks only profit so much money as well. And I believe from 2024 to 2025, they put in 75% of everything they made back into their payroll. And that's after you exclude things like, they have a stadium they need to upkeep. They have a stadium they need to renovate. They're renovating their stadium now. They have, other staff they need to pay. They have all these other things that they need to do. So it's not like they can put every single dime into this team, into the players on the field. That being said, there are some estimates that they actually put more than 100% in. They actually operated at a loss for the year because their payroll was so high. It goes back and forth. There's not specific numbers, at least that I can find, unless you know where they can find some, and let me know in the comments because I'd love to get to the bottom of that. But according to Fangraphs, the estimated 2026 payroll as it stands right now is 168 million. So if we're going to hit last year's mark of 188 million, which it's been said we're not going to, so it's actually less than that, we have $20 million left to spend, or less than $20 million left to spend. And for reference, that's about what we spend on Merrill Kelly alone in one given year. So that's kind of a lot. Eduardo Rodriguez, 21 million, or roughly 20 million as well. Corbin Burns, 35 million. Ketel Marte, 15 million. So Ketel Marte is our fourth highest paid player. He's not even our highest paid player. So when people say, oh, they want to offload him so they can open up their payroll, I guess 15 million is a good amount of money, but then we're signing Alex Bregman for 30 million, and it's like, still a lot. So what does that mean the Diamondbacks still get to work with? Well, let's go to my favorite website, spottrack.com/MLB/free agents, and let's see who is still available. And right now, at the top of the market value list, we have Kyle Tucker, who everybody likes to say, the Diamondbacks should sign Kyle Tucker because they need outfielders. Well, first of all, he's a right fielder. We already have a right fielder. Kyle Tucker maybe could play left field, but also he's valued at like $40 million a year. And a number of insiders, specifically John Gambo, was like, heck no. They're not doing that. There's zero chance they're going to do that. So Kyle Tucker, no, it's not going to happen. I don't know that the Diamondbacks are interested in signing like Framber Valdez, or they're definitely not interested in signing Cody Bellinger. Alex Bregman, again, he's valued at about $30 million. So signing him now without trading Ketel Marte, that already sends us $10 million over budget, and we still need relief pitchers. The closest one, like I could maybe see them dishing out for like Ranger Suarez, starting pitcher, but he's valued at 27. Like that's still over budget. I could see that happening, but that would be a big leap. Honestly, if we're looking at starting pitchers, you know who's valued at 18 million? Zach Gallen. There hasn't been any talk about him coming back. There's not even so much as a rumor, but I don't know. Maybe as the season progresses, the offseason that is progresses, if deals on him are starting to wane thin, maybe that's something that that ends up being on the table. Another person that's been talked about is Eugenio Suarez. There's been rumors that he'll sign a 2-year, $40 million deal with the Diamondbacks. I don't think the Diamondbacks would do that. Suarez is the kind of player that he's either hot or he's completely ice cold. And when he's super hot, oh man, we saw it last year. But then we traded him, and then he was ice cold for the Mariners until he hit that one home run in the playoffs. But that was basically it. According to Spot Track, he values at $15 million. So maybe if we wait a little longer and that goes down even further, maybe we work something out. But I'm not sure. But really, again, the thing that we need are relief pitchers. And of the relief pitchers, we have at the top of the list for 14 million, valued at 14 million, we have Nick Martinez, who's definitely a bit on the older side. There's Chris Paddock at 10 million from Detroit. Pierce Johnson, who we've heard a little bit of rumors about, at 8 million. And this is kind of the area that I think we need to be operating in. There's Jonathan Loaziga. I'm sorry, everybody listening to that. At 5 million. I mean, Paul Sewald and Andrew Chafin are still on here for about 4 million each. So I mean, there's a lot of ways you go about this. Shelby Miller, honestly, that might not be a terrible idea. Sign him for $1 million again. Hey, maybe do that, actually. That's not a bad idea. Daynen Biggs is still available. We could sign him for $1 million. That I wouldn't be too surprised if that happened. But yeah, so there's a lot of guys that we could still pick up that would still fit into our budget. The only other positions that we really need is a first baseman. A right-handed first baseman would be nice. Paul Goldschmidt is currently it's funny. Okay, I'm looking at first base right now. The number one valued first baseman is Cody Bellinger at 30 million. Then second is Paul Goldschmidt at 7. There's a huge drop there. So that number is going down pretty far. We could sign somebody like Justin Turner, though he's probably more of a DH at this point. But we get him for cheap. Carlos Santana, Rice Hoskins. There's a handful of guys there that we could probably go for. Wilmer Flores. So there's some options there. I totally forgot to factor in right-handed. Carlos Santana's switch hitter. So actually, yeah, all these guys are right-handed. So there we go. And then finally, a third baseman, which, as I said, Eugenio Suarez. He's up there behind Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman at 30, Suarez at 15, and then Ramon Urias. Man, this is a bad day. At 6, and Chris Taylor at 5, and it keeps kind of just going down. But the amount of free agents available is shrinking. So the Diamondbacks are going to need to be quick, unless they want to settle for minor leaguers that they bring up, which could work. I mean, it works sometimes. It could happen, but that's kind of the current situation right now. And again, spring training is just around the corner. The Diamondbacks do make a lot of moves right before spring training. That's when they sign a lot of their guys. So I imagine that's probably what's going to happen again this year. So we need to just keep our ear to the ground, train tracks. I don't know what that saying is, and pay attention and see what happens. But I'm really excited to see what goes on. I'm not fully like, I'm not thinking woe is me on this because I think the Diamondbacks are going to pull it through. 17 minutes ago, the Diamondbacks and Gabriel Moreno announced that they avoided arbitration by agreeing to a $2.5 million contract. So there we go. Which actually, I actually had seen that. I saw that before the news article came out. We're awesome. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. That is our show today. Be sure to follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Locked On Diamondbacks. We're on YouTube as well as every other place you get your podcasts. If you want to see more of me, you can find more of me on my YouTube channels and other projects at my website, slackshack.tv. Thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen of every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.